The first thing modern readers get wrong about planetary hours is thinking they work like a normal clock. They hear the first hour of Sunday and imagine a fixed slot. Maybe 6 a.m., maybe 7 a.m., maybe the first 60 minutes after midnight. And once that assumption enters, the whole system becomes confusing. Because the older logic is not built on mechanical time. It is built on living time. That mistake matters because it turns a precise structure into a vague schedule. You may keep the name of Michael. You may keep the idea of Sunday. You may even keep the solar symbolism. But if the hour itself is misunderstood, the whole correspondence loses its center. By the end of this video, you will understand one simple thing. Planetary hours are not asking, what time is it on the clock? They are asking, where are we inside the rhythm of the day? That difference changes everything. Take Sunday. In the older system, Sunday belongs to the sun. That part is easy to remember. The problem begins when people treat that solar link as a mood, a symbolic color, a general feeling of brightness, power, victory, clarity, protection. But the structure is sharper than that. The day is divided from sunrise to sunset into 12 parts. Then the night is divided again from sunset to the next sunrise into 12 parts. Those parts are the planetary hours. So a planetary hour is not always 60 minutes. In summer, when the day is long, each daylight hour stretches. In winter, when the day is short, each daylight hour contracts. The clock stays regular, but the solar rhythm changes. Now notice the consequence. If Sunday begins its visible life at sunrise, then the first planetary hour of Sunday is not just early in the morning. It is the opening of the sun's day. It is the first solar gate of that day's order. And in that order, Michael is placed at the first hour and again at the 8th. That is not random decoration. It means Michael is read through a timed solar pattern. Name, day, planet, light, sequence, and hour are tied together. The angel is not floating in empty symbolism. The angel stands inside a structure. Here is the first turning point. If you remove the natural rhythm, you still have words, but you no longer have the mechanism. It is like trying to understand a tide table without looking at the sea. The numbers may still be there, but the movement has disappeared. And this is where many modern readings become too soft. They keep the angel, but lose the hour. They keep the sun, but lose sunrise. They keep Sunday, but forget that Sunday is not only a date on a calendar. It is a cycle of light. So the real question is not only, why Michael on Sunday? The better question is, what kind of world sees time as something ruled, divided, and charged by celestial order? That question opens the door. Because in this worldview, time is not empty space waiting to be filled. Time has quality. A morning does not carry the same quality as evening. Sunrise does not carry the same quality as midnight. The first hour of a solar day does not mean the same thing as the fourth. Each moment belongs to a pattern. And once you see that, planetary hours become much less strange. They are a way of saying, forces do not appear in isolation. They arrive through rhythm. Now pause here, because this is the bridge between ceremonial timing and Hermetic philosophy. One principle says that what is above corresponds to what is below. Another says that everything moves in rhythm. Another says that every cause has its effect, but causes exist on different levels. Planetary hours sit exactly at that crossing. The sky moves, the day opens, the light grows, the hour changes. The corresponding intelligence is named. The practitioner enters the pattern, not by forcing it, but by locating himself inside it. That is the whole point. Old magic is not only about wanting something strongly, it is about acting within order. This is why the clock problem is so important. Mechanical time treats every hour as equal. 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock. A calendar square is a calendar square. Time becomes a container. But planetary time says something different. It says the container itself has a quality. Think of ordinary life. You already know this without calling it magic. A conversation at dawn does not feel the same as the same conversation at midnight. A decision made in panic does not carry the same weight as one made in clarity. The same action, placed in a different rhythm, changes its effect. That is not superstition. That is the practical intelligence of timing. Now bring that back to Michael. Michael's connection with Sunday becomes clearer when you stop treating it as a loose angelic association. The point is not merely Michael is solar, as if that explains everything. The point is that Michael appears within the order of a solar day at appointed hours, where the day's rulership and the hour's rulership meet. The first hour matters because it opens the day's solar current. The 8th hour matters because the pattern returns. That return is important. It shows that the day is not a flat line. It has sequence, recurrence, and structure. The first appearance establishes the tone. The later appearance shows the rhythm continuing inside the day. So where are we now? We started with a simple mistake, reading planetary hours like clock hours. Then we saw that the older system divides daylight and night according to sunrise and sunset. Now we can understand the deeper idea. Michael and Sunday are not just a name and a day. They are part of a timed solar architecture. And what comes next is the useful part. Once you understand this, you stop reading old correspondences as random lists. You start reading them as maps. A list says, Michael, Sun, Sunday. A map says, the sun governs the day. The day begins with sunrise. The light is divided into 12 living parts, and Michael rules specific points within that order. That is a completely different level of understanding. It also protects you from a common error, using old systems while secretly thinking like a modern scheduler. Because if you think the hour is just a slot, you will look for convenience. If you think the hour is a rhythm, you will look for alignment. Convenience asks, when can I fit this in? Alignment asks, what is active now? That is the older question. And it is a much more demanding question because it does not place the practitioner at the center of everything. It places the practitioner inside a larger order. That is why this system feels foreign to the modern mind. We are used to bending time around ourselves. Older magic often asks the opposite. Learn the order first, then act with it. So the lesson of Michael and planetary hours is not simply about angelology. It is about timing as a spiritual structure. If you miss that, Michael becomes a name attached to Sunday. If you see it, Michael becomes a signpost inside the sun's day, not floating above time, but appearing through time. And that is the real correction. Planetary hours are not a primitive clock. They are a way of reading when a force is considered present, ordered, and available within the rhythm of nature. So the next time you see an angel, a planet, a day, and an hour placed together, do not rush past the timing. The timing may be the key that makes the whole structure intelligible. Because in old magic, the question was rarely just what power. It was also what hour. And sometimes, getting the hour wrong means you are never reading the system at all.